Hi Leah, Coach Allie. This is your video to help you with, your issue that is stemming here. But we want to catch any injuries before it gets too worse that exercise or home remedies can't fix it. So with my expertise working with talking to prehab, my cousin who's a physical therapist, my uncle who is an orthopedic surgeon, I put together this little program for you, and I know you could do it at home. You have all the equipment. So first I'm just going to explain to you from what you've told me, what could be the issue, and let's try this out twice a week, not back-to-back days. So for example, Tuesday and Thursday, Monday and Wednesday, if you want to lightly walk for a half hour. No jumping, no high impact activities, definitely boot camp, but just if we're doing jump squats, speed squats would be best for you. And taking extensive time to do the mobility drills I'm going to show you here in the second part of this session. Cool. And then the other days, rest days, or you could just walk. If you could swim, amazing, no running. And let me explain why. So, a very big issue that many athletes tend to see, and I'm not saying this necessarily is the absolute case for you, but tendinitis and overuse syndromes and injuries happen. They just happen. It could be due to muscular imbalances. It can be due to overuse, jumping into something new too fast, doing a strenuous activity such as running, where it's very high impact on your joints and your tendons, which connect your muscles to your bones, and it could just lead to injuries. We don't want that. So I don't know if this necessarily is hamstring tendinitis, but from what you told me, feeling that behind the knee pain and almost like pulling up to your hamstring, and that attaches actually to your pelvis from a lateral pelvic tilt, which can occur when you're sitting for prolonged periods of time. Your hip flexors are tight, and when you get up, you might just not be as loose. The muscle fascia might not be as loose there, so you might not even realize or feel that your pelvis is not symmetrical on both sides of your body, even when you're walking, let alone running. This could also, happen when you just go from 0 to 100 real quick. Like, in all seriousness, increasing the stress on your body from an activity such as running too quickly, too soon. So things like running a mile really fast, not foam rolling and stretching properly beforehand and afterwards. So the good news is, if this is it, there are home remedies and exercises to do 2 to 3 times a week. If you want to add in the third day, I'd recommend Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, just so you could get a good even amount of this work done throughout the week, and also get some cardio in by your light cardio, by like walking or swimming or even cycling, just nothing that's high impact on your joints, your body, no jumping, no plyometrics. So first I want to say, don't freak out. It's a good thing that you're able to tackle this head on, and you kind of really gave me a detailed description of where you were feeling the pain, which is stuff I need to see to make everything work best for you. So if you have a foam roller, you definitely want to grab that. Just a few things: make sure that moving forward, like, you try to move around a little more. You're not sitting all day. I'm super guilty, and I can empathize with you. It's not easy. It's not easy to just get up and get out of your apartment, especially if you're like grabbing food in the middle of a work call, and then you're like, oh shit, I have like another call already. So maybe setting alarms or blocking time out in your calendar, like you've done with the farmer carries, which I still have, is a great way to kind of remind yourself, hey, it's walking time. Let me get off my butt for 5 minutes. That way, you're keeping your muscles limber and loose, and when you do go to exercise, you're not just literally going from sitting all day to exercising and doing all these strenuous activities. So let's go over 3 mobility drills, and then we're going to dive into some exercises and then foam rolling. So, hamstring mobility. I've done this one in some of my cross training videos, but for you, this is a very good dynamic stretch, which means it's working multiple muscles and joints to loosen your muscles up and to kind of release your hip flexors, your pelvis. Also, if this is tendonitis and you are experiencing overuse in one area, you're hitting both legs, so we're trying to get as symmetrical as possible and getting that pelvis in alignment. But first we gotta loosen up the muscles around that to do this appropriately. So let's hinge forward from your hips. You're gonna take your hands, put your fingertips under your toes, bend and extend your legs. Let's do this 8 times. So that's 2. Counting down, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay? Beautiful job. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to one knee on both legs. Okay? We're gonna do this. So, extend this leg, make sure your foot is on the ground. If you have a long band, you absolutely can wrap it around your toe. I just want you to be careful. So if you have the band, you could wrap it around your toe, okay? You're gonna pull the band so you create tension on it. This is called time under tension. And you're gonna almost push your hips backwards, like towards my quotes. They're not that much of a mess, sorry. And hinge forward so you really feel that deep hamstring stretch. It should be under here. And tell me where you feel it. Like, are you feeling it like right behind that kneecap here? Without the band, you're gonna do the same thing, but interlace your fingers, place them right under your hip, like hip joint, hip bone, and kind of press lightly on your quad, the top of your quad, where it meets your hip flexors, TFL area, and push your hips back, hinge forward. You should still feel that nice stretch. Then we're gonna release it. This is called active release stretching, PNF stretching. It's a really good technique to loosen up again specific joints, muscle fascia, especially around our knee and our hips, because our hamstring falls between there. And also, we're working our pelvis from, I'm sorry, I'm chatting, I'm explaining to you because I know you love the anatomy and geekiness of all this. A posterior pelvic tilt and an anterior pelvic tilt. So we're working that while we push our hips back and we come back to neutral as well. So let's do that 5 more times, 10 times total. When you're doing this at home, 3 to 4 sets on each leg. And just ease into it, be easy on yourself, okay? Rock forward, so we're getting this nice hip extension in your opposite leg. And back, again, we're putting that pelvis into a posterior pelvic tilt, so working those hip flexors and also that pelvis and that hamstring. But this is more loosening up the muscle fascia around, your knee, hips, pelvic area, and yes, your hamstring, but not so strenuous. So let's go 3 more times, 10 of these on each leg, 3 to 4 times per session. So, per day when you do this. Last 2. And last one. And let's switch it to the other side. So same thing, we're gonna go on this knee, lengthen this leg. I'm just gonna show you without the band. Interlace your fingers, put them right below your hip bone. Push your hips back. I'm sorry, I'm more, I'm not as mobile on this side. And release it. Let's do that 9 more times. Push those hips back, hinge forward. It's almost like a deadlift hinge. Think about that. Form still applies here. Shoulders down and back, squeeze your abs, tuck that tailbone under. Had to. Whew. And just be gentle, be easy. We have 5 more reps. You could pause this after this and do this 2 more times on each side, or 3. Up to you. You know your body best, but I would recommend definitely doing 3 sets. Two more. And last one. Beautiful. Okay. Now, we're going to do a quadruped rocking stretch, which you have done, but this is extremely important to get those adductors that we were talking about yesterday. Just a friendly reminder, it's always good to, show you things so you're able to visibly see me do them and you can do them properly at home yourself. So I'm gonna show you from the side and facing the camera. But like a frog, you're turning your toes outward. So my right toe is facing the right wall, my left is facing the left wall. I can't personally sit down all the way between both legs because my adductors and groin area is very tight, but if you can, go for it. 10 reps right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come forward, extend those hips, squeeze your glutes. Be careful not to hyperextend your lumbar spine. So squeeze your abs nice and tight, your shoulders center back, tuck the tailbone under, and then come back to sitting. So you're really hitting those adductors, you're gonna feel it, and that groin area. And we're gonna rock forward and back, keeping this as dynamic as possible. You're gonna do this 3 times for this session. So after this, we're gonna pause this and you're gonna do it 2 more times, and then we're gonna resume. Whew. And all the way back, and take your time with it so you really get that full depth and reap the benefits of this dynamic stretch. I'm sure with the yoga you do, this might be a little easier for you to sit between those legs. And let's do 2 more. So I'm gonna face the camera now, just so you can see. So back and forward, coming back and forward. And then grab some water, pause it. Okay, so welcome back. So those are your 3 dynamic stretches. Now we're gonna go into exercises. Very, very simple exercises, okay? So I'm gonna explain 3 exercises, why we're doing them, and what muscles they impact for you. So grab those ankle weights, place them around your ankles. I just had to say that because sometimes they're great to wrap around your wrists for arm exercises, but conversations for another time. So those ankle weights are around, and we're gonna do alternating standing marches, which I'm gonna show you in a sec. It's like the Tin Man almost. Okay, whew, it's hot in here. So from the side so you can see, so alternating, we're gonna do 20 total. So tuck that tailbone under, squeeze those abs, bring your shoulder blades down and back. You're doing this also 3 times. So up, I want you to tap your right hand to your left shin if you can, and you're standing in place. Exhale. So what we're doing is we're working our hip flexors, working our quads, because our quads and TFL help to flex our hips, which bend, flex, that's what I mean by that. And we're doing the added weight to resist basically our legs from just falling down uncontrollably, which our hamstrings are working, because our hamstrings work to extend our hip. Hence, that's what the ankle weights are for. So let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Perfect. Okay, so now this is where it gets fun. And I feel you, girl, because I had to do this specific exercise when I was rehabbing myself, and I had piriformis syndrome and a quad strain. It was fun, but all fixable. So we're gonna take one leg up, okay? We're gonna just raise it up, even though it's not like really, really strenuous and hard. You just need to be delicate with yourself. So you're raising it up, keeping your toes, putting it up, keeping your foot flexed and out. Abducting, remember abduction, when we talked about taking something away from you, think of it that. Working our outer thighs. Still working our inner thighs. We're working our quads, okay? But we mobilize our joints, and then now we're trying to strengthen or stabilize some muscles. Fun fact, mobility before stability, write it down. And yes, we're working our hamstring again to resist that weight when our leg falls closer to the ground, working our core to stabilize our spine and keep our upper body relaxed and not moving. So you're still working those obliques from resisting rotating from side to side. So up and down, or up and to the side is 1 rep. We're doing 10 on each leg. For simplicity's sake, We're doing 2 more. And last one. You might feel a little shaky here. Put it down, okay? Let's do the other leg, and then you're going to pause this and repeat those first 2 exercises 2 more times before we dive into the third. So we're here, our foot's flexed, we're up to the side, our palms are right by our sides facing up, the upper body's nice and relaxed. 3 form keys, shoulder blades down and back. And I want you to just notice and take note, maybe write down what you're feeling before you dive into rounds 2 and 3 of these first 2 exercises, so that we could look back and track progress along the way as you rehab yourself back to healthy. 5, 4, 3, keep that foot nice and flexed, that leg extended. 2, so you're really working those hip flexors in that pelvic region. And 1. Good. So before you pause, you're forcing your pelvis to remain as neutral as possible when your lower back is on the ground and you're resisting rotating, because your obliques are in charge of resisting any rotation. They're the anti-rotation muscle in your core. So now you can pause. Welcome back from doing 2 to 3 exercises of the first 2 exercises. The third one is going to be single leg glute bridges, okay, with the ankle weights. So we're here, okay? You're gonna come up, lift your leg up, and come back down, squeezing your glutes at the top. So we're doing 8 reps of each. 8, why? Because it's usually 8 to 15 reps when we're going for strengthening muscular endurance and hypertrophy for lean muscles. But for strength, if you have like a resistance band, almost like a hip thruster, and you want to use that right under your hip bones, almost like you would a barbell, you could try that, but again, you exercise with caution. Last one on this side, and then let's come back down. So what I'd recommend is, I don't have a barbell in my house, but if you have a long resistance band, you can place it right under your hip bones and turn your palms towards the ground, hold them, and if you want to increase the resistance, just put your hands closer together on the band and place them on the ground. So it's going to be harder for your hamstrings to work while extending those hips, coming up into the single leg glute bridge with those ankle weights on. Bringing the squat rack to our homes today. 6 more. And yes, this side is weaker for me, so apologies if that's visible, but I work at this too. We're all human. Whew. Yes, you might feel both hamstrings. You might feel your right. You might feel only your left. But we're working them. And down. So you're releasing that. You're going to do that 2 more times, and I'll meet you right back here when you're done. Welcome back. So we're going to remove those ankle weights. And we're going to do 2 simple exercises with your light dumbbells. Ta-da! As shown here. Okay, so we're going to bring 1 dumbbell between our feet. Okay? So we're going to turn our knees towards the camera, and we're going to try to press our legs slightly towards the back of the room. So you can come up onto your forearm or lay on your lower back, but we're going like this. So basically our hips are stacked right above each other, so are our feet, and we're pushing them back. Now what this is doing is we're working our hamstrings, especially our core, okay? And our quads as we bring our legs forward and back, especially our pelvis. We're loosening up that area. It's already loose, and we're strengthening it. So 8 times on each side. The other way, optional, if you want to hold it out, you can. It's going to force you to engage your core more, because if you let your core go, you're going to roll your shoulders forward. Just notice what happens when you really contract your core. It stabilizes your spine and helps you to keep those shoulder blades down and back or high-fiving each other. So let's do 8 on this side. Everything's stacked. And we're bringing our legs back. You have the option to, again, hold this out, but really feel how much that core is working if you hold the weight optional. Otherwise, place the top hand on the ground while exhaling, bringing those legs back while extending those hips. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, so obviously, that's bound to help us a little bit. Going back to the basics like we talked about. After this, you could pause the video and do both of these dumbbell exercises 2 more times each today. So just holding the weights by your midline, it forces you to engage your core because it forces you to keep good posture. Because if I'm doing lunges like this, something's going to be off. I'm going to overcompensate somewhere, okay? So we're doing squats and lunges. We're not just doing lunges. So we're going to do 5 squats, 5 alternating forward lunges, and then you are going to repeat that. That's 10 reps total, by the way. You're going to repeat that 2 more times and pause this after the first round. So keep those knees over those toes, back nice and flat. For that squat, pushing that butt back, coming forward, keeping those weights right by that pec line or the top of your bra line. Remember, if your adductors are still a little tight, widen your stance and just turn your toes a little outward. So it's almost like a sumo stance. Okay, 2 more. Last one. Good, keep those weights right where they are. Starting with that right foot, we're gonna come to a forward lunge. Bring that left foot like 2 inches above the ground as shown. Readjust, bring those shoulder blades down and back. Bring those weights straight out. Back at this speed too. Exhale, stepping back to the other leg. Perfect. Now step forward with that left. Bring that right 2 inches down to the ground. Press those dumbbells straight in front of you. Bring them back. Exhale, stepping back to that right foot. 3 more times. Knowing you, if you want to even it out, we could do 4 more times. So it's like even on each side of your feet, even though it'll all even out throughout the 3 rounds. This is working everything here. All of the muscles that we've talked about. It's a compound movement for functional training and for runners, hitting that hamstring area, the knees, pelvis. As long as you keep that pelvis, that tailbone or that pelvis in a C, and those abs nice and engaged, which I know you're doing, obviously. 2 more. I do 2 exhales. 1 when I press the weights out, but that's just my choice. 1 when I step back. Definitely try the 1 when you step back because it helps you to, again, contract your core so your spine's stable and then your legs could work as they should, because if I weren't to exhale when I step back together, I might become all wobbly and unstable. I hope that makes sense, but if it doesn't, feel free to just shoot me a message. I will be happy to explain further. So those are your dumbbell exercises, and now for the 3rd segment of today's exercise routine, we're going to go to that foam roller. So grab that foam roller that's nearby. Ta-da, we're going to foam roll out those adductors, inner thighs. So when you said you don't do enough, well, we're going to boost up that foam rolling time to at least try 30 to 35 minutes daily. Twice a day would be amazing, but realistically, that's enough time, and especially in conjunction with what you just did beforehand in today's workout. So what I recommend to roll out those adductors is being prone to the ground. You're facing the ground like a crawling baby. And you're going to slightly turn your hip outwards as shown. And be gentle. This right foot can come off the ground. So you want to hit basically that entire inner thigh muscle from that groin all the way to the patella or tibia on the top of that shin bone. Right below that kneecap rather. Be careful behind your knee because I don't want to hurt anything. And I want to get all areas around it too. So let's roll forward and back. You could stay here for 5 minutes. I would recommend staying here for at least like 20 forward and back rolls on each leg in your adductor area. So you're going to do that. Now we're going to come to our hamstring. Very important here. We're right under our glute, and we are getting right under that kneecap on our hamstring. Keep your toes facing the ceiling. Let me know where you're feeling this. I hope it feels good. And if not, just be gentle. Be gentle with the amount of body weight you put on the foam roller as well, because I don't want you to like dig too deep into your muscle fascia and hurt yourself. That hurts. And we're not going to do our abductor because our IT band is just a bunch of muscle fascia, and it feels good temporarily, but it's not really releasing anything. So we want to release anything around our knee joint. You could do this on your stomach, but we're doing it for the sake, since we are trying to affect and really hit on the pain points and behind our knees on both sides of our body. So we're just going to roll our knee from right to left, keeping the non-working leg on the ground. Your torso is trying to resist rotation. So you could loosen up all the smaller stabilizer muscles and muscle fascia around that kneecap. Around 20 times for all of those 3 foam rolling movements, at least, or stay in each for like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, because if you stay in each for 10 minutes, that's 30 minutes, and that's your foam rolling. But that's only your lower body. So if you have the time, do that, but if not, just do this twice a day for 15 minutes each. Okay, so let's get to that other knee, or that other leg rather, excuse me. I was just like deep in thought here. I was like, wow, I really need to do more foam rolling. Okay, so here, same thing. We're gonna hit that inner thigh. So from that groin to that kneecap. Whew. It feels good to feel good. And this, I definitely think, will be very helpful for you, and it's awesome that you could do it at home. Go, Leah, go! I had to make use of the chalkboard, just had to. And when you're ready, after 5 minutes of this, we're gonna go to that other hamstring. I'm on my left, going from below that glute muscle all the way down behind that knee. I know this is your uncomfortable leg, so just be careful. Remember, our form always matters. So our pelvis is tucked under in a C, our abs are engaged, and our shoulder blades are always kissing. Just think of the meathead. And just like we did on the other leg, when you're done with those 5 minutes, you could pause this after the short example clips right here I'm doing of each of the 3 foam rolling exercises, by the way. We're going to do the same thing, rolling our knee, hitting all the muscle fascia around it, around that kneecap, to loosen up our IT bands and anything maybe pulling in our hamstring, causing the hamstring tendonitis kind of feeling I was telling you about, and just setting ourselves up for success rather than failure. So now, when you get up and you go, not running or walking, you're all like limbered and loosened up, and your muscle fascia is ready to go, instead of just getting up from your sedentary day and just abruptly starting any exercise. So I hope you found this really helpful. Again, you can do this 2 to 3 times a week. I'd recommend, if you do 3 times, actually putting a day in between each routine. So like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or just Tuesday, Thursday. And then on the other days you're walking, or you're just you could swim if you go out of town. And yeah, doing this 2 to 3 times a week and just following the video as shown. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here for you as your coach, resource friend, and enjoy. Have fun with it, and I look forward to seeing you get better soon.